All right, we're good to go here. So, been on a little bit, Phil.
Yeah.
How's everything going?
Uh, Surviving. Just taking it day by day and just trying to just survive. How about yourself?
Same man, chilling, living the dream.
I feel that on an emotional level.
All right, so I got this idea. I was watching, I think it was Pixel Dan. He was doing the new Ninja Turtles Technodrome,
Hmm.
and he said he was brought up. He's like, I love getting this for Christmas, and it got me thinking. Best to worst Christmas gifts we ever got. Kids now, what did we want? What did we not want? You know. So let you let you go first. It's the worst thing you got, the best thing you got, and the thing you always wanted but you never got. It could
Oh,
be multiple things. It could be
honestly, probably one of the my. It was one of the things I wanted, and it was a obviously I wanted it. So for me at the time, it was an amazing Christmas present. Was a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Gold.
so you were a gold fan.
I liked both, but I liked Ho Oh a little bit better. So got Pokemon Gold. It was a lime green Game Boy Color, and man, the after that went to remember back in the day the old Mad Cats accessories they used to have for like all the like your PlayStation, your Game Boy side, the little screen deal that went over that kind of helped magnify it, the little
Oh
lamp,
yeah, the thing was
all
like that
that
was
stuff.
like this big.
Yeah, then didn't have the battery pack, didn't have the actual batteries, but had the battery pack, so you could just plug it into like a wall charger, not constantly have to go through batteries all the time. Got that a little bit later, but no, probably one of my favorites that I've gotten, when I was younger was probably like I said the Game Boy Color. Then and after that, spent I mean, no, you're a Pokemon fan as well, and you played the games as well, and spent hours upon hours upon hours, just playing that game, playing the crap out of it. And another probably one of my favorites was when I was really young, got my first bicycle. My very first bicycle wasn't for my parents; it's for my grandpa. He bought me my first bike, and God, I put probably hundreds of thousands of miles on that thing. It had training wheels. Once the training wheels came off, I was gone. Like spent many, like I said, put many miles on that bicycle. Absolutely loved that thing. Um, that was because came from my grandparents. Don't get me wrong, mom and dad gifts are always awesome, but something about them grandparent gifts, they hit different.
Yeah, they always do because they'll go above and beyond. You
Not
know.
not just that, but once we get older, which I've lost all my grandparents, so I don't have any grandparents anymore, which I don't know if you know you're the same way, but most people are in our age, 30s, and once you get to your mid to late 30s to early 40s, and looking back, it kind of means a little bit more now, knowing your grandparents are no longer with you, and you kind of have a little more fonder memories of some of the stuff they've gotten you, even though as a kid, they always got you those socks and underwear and all the other gifts. You're like, oh man, really? It's like, okay, cool. You had to put on that fake, oh my God, I love this, thank you so much, even though
Now, now as adults, if we get socks and underwear, we're like, I was just talking with Joe earlier. I was like, he even said he was like, fuck. Now it's like, thank God we could get rid of this old shit.
not only that, it's like, man, one less thing I have to buy.
Yeah, for real.
In today's economy, it's like, heck yes. It's like, yes, I'll take socks, awesome. T-shirts, like, shirts, awesome. Anything I don't have to buy myself, awesome. Um, and probably that's probably a couple of my favorites. There's probably been other stuff. I've gotten like some video games or some toys at the time. That I wanted, and when I was younger, I was real into them, and even to this day, I'm still into it from time to time. I like either military aviation or like cars, but like model kits, like model airplanes, model
Yeah.
cars. I got my parents would give me some of those, as gifts, and I liked them. It's like I said, I like military aviation. Plane nerd, and they've got me stuff like that over the years, and kind of funny that you said about the adult thing. Now that we're like, heck yeah, I'm. It's taken me years to convince my parents of doing it, but now my favorite gift is a gift card, and my personal opinion on that is it's the best gift. There's no wrong size, wrong color, and if somebody gets you a Walmart gift card and somebody else gets you a Walmart gift card, sweet, double up. It's not like someone gets you this jacket and another person gets you like the same jacket, so now you either got to return one or whatever. But so let me ask you, what's your thought of gift cards or just giving cash as a gift?
For me, when I buy gifts for people, I start in like November, right? Because like I have to, like, I think, okay, what does my dad need? What does he want? What does he like? My mom, same thing. Brothers, cousins, whole nine yards. Not only do I got to buy like for like, I don't have to. They always say, but like I always buy for like 10 or 12 people. And now that I'm married, same thing with Katie's family. Um, I try to find like a gift. Give myself like $25. You know, by like we went to a Condors game, which is a AHL hockey team. My dad loves hockey. I was like, I'll get him a T-shirt and a hockey puck. Boom, done.
Right.
But gift cards, like if I can't find somebody something, I can't think of it. Like I'll go get $25 gift card for Walmart, you know, the supermarket, gas station, something that you know I know they're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
If I could at least give them, a tank of gas or well, half a tank of gas in this economy, but
Yeah.
um, you know, something that I know that my cousin Alex, she could take that gift card to Sephora, buy as much makeup as she can with it, or at least take the head off of it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like to me, it's always like, is it the most practical gift? Probably, but for me, it's always like it takes the person, the personality away from it.
Right.
You know, yeah, that's just me.
I mean,
Like,
like, I see where you're coming from, because it does kind of take that, like you said, that doesn't seem as personable, as getting someone a gift card, but at the same time, like you mentioned about the makeup deal, like, man, like, without knowing like what brand they like or what they can or can't wear or what shade or whatever, when it comes to stuff like that, it's like I wouldn't know the first thing. So yeah, it's like, yeah, give me a $25 gift card to here, and like they can just go get what they want or need. It's,
yeah,
it's kind of the same thing with my dad. You know how dads are trying to buy a gift for. It's like, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, I don't want anything. Okay, what do you need? Oh, I got everything I need. Dad's
it's
one
like
of those go to Lowe's.
asshole. Tell me.
I just go to Harbor Freight or Lowe's, or I mean, we have them out here. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what an Atwoods is. It's like it's a farm, ranch, and home store.
So kind of
It's
like a Tractor Supply kind of place.
yeah, it's very similar to Tractor Supply or Menards, if you're familiar with Menards. Um, I usually get him a gift card to one of those three places, because my dad usually ends up, going to get welding rods or welding wires or cut off discs or something. It's one of those. Like I said, how dads are. They
Yeah,
never anything or need anything, and also kind of notice, as an adult, when I was, when we were kids, we didn't really have money. We had, whatever allowance or a couple bucks our parents gave us. So when it gets to a certain time of year, like, you get your Christmas gifts, as an adult, I just, I don't wait for birthdays or Christmas. I just, if I want or need something, I'm going to go get it. I got that adult money now.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I can see where you're coming from on on the, on the gift cards. Probably one gift that I always wanted that I never got was honestly was a TV. I've always wanted, like, it didn't have to be anything crazy, like, no, nothing big or massive, or no. At the time, I remember when flat screens first came out; those were expensive. But like, I always wanted, like, my own TV for my room. Didn't necessarily have to have cable. One I could plug. Like VCR at the time, and yeah, kind of aging myself here. A VCR or DVD player. But one of my own TV. Never got my own until I started kind of got to that age where I could go mow lawns or shovel drives. Kind of those weird little odd jobs that you could have.
Yeah.
Before you were legally allowed to work. Saved up enough money and went and bought my own TV. But yeah, Christmas gift. I always wanted a TV. Always wanted a TV and never got one for Christmas.
And back then, you got to think, even like the 29-inch boxes, that was like big deal back then. They were
Yeah,
still like 100 bucks, $120, depending on which brand,
yeah, and I remember.
And
Yeah, they weren't cheap back then. Heck, that's back when what a 42-inch was massive.
oh yeah, they weighed a ton. You needed a truck just to bring the goddamn TV home.
Oh yeah, they weighed a ton and they were awkward. And you needed two people. Like 29-inch TV, you needed two people to. I mean, yeah, you could manhandle it, but you're throwing your back out. You almost needed two people just to move that TV around.
Now you could take your 55-inch TV, grab it with one hand, and figure out where you want to put it.
God, yeah, like there's times seeing some of these new TVs, man, it's like, man, my wallet's thicker than this TV.
And that's saying a lot.
No, not most of that's with receipts or other whatever cards I have to carry on me. Man, trying to think of another gift that I always wanted that I never. Oh man, like, I'm not sitting here trying to make it sound like like every single gift I wanted that I got, because it's just I'm just trying to remember. I trying to remember some of those gifts that I wanted that my parent, like, either my parents just said no, if you want it, you get it yourself, or it was one of those. Because it kind of got to that point as I got in my later teens into my 20s and adult now. There's some stuff, like I said, if it's something I want, I'm gonna get. Or once I started working, some of that stuff they kind of like, well, if you want that, you got your own money, kind of deal. um Trying to think, I may have to come back to that, but I know there's a one of the gifts I got when I was younger. I I wasn't mad about it. I didn't hate it. I just, at the time, I'm like, okay, this is kind of lame. My dad got me it was combination, metric standard craftsman, wrench set 1 year, another year, socket ratchet, from quarter drive up to half inch, socket ratchet metric. Those two, the gifts at the time when I got them, I'm kind of like, okay, this is lame. Like, cool, thanks. But like, that's still when I was, wanting like toys and video games or, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay. But later on as I got older, those gifts end up turning, like, okay, you know what? I'm glad my dad bought these for me. Because tools are precious metals. You're always, I'm,
Especially that down 10 millimeter.
yeah. But just tools in general, like my dad got me tools, and it's just like, at the time, like I said, it's just kind of like, okay, this is cool, I guess. I mean, thanks, but those are gifts I later on grew to appreciate. Then obviously, the stereotypical socks, underwear, shirts, those gifts as a kid, I absolutely, you're a kid and you get open up a box and you got underwear in there and you're just like, yeah, tend to like it.
They didn't even have Ninja Turtles on them or anything. They're just you're playing Jane BVDs.
Yep. Yep. I have to think a little bit more. What were some of your gifts that you liked, disliked, indifferent, or stuff that you wanted and never got?
Uh, I, obviously, besides what we talked about, socks, underwears, um, there wasn't anything that I ever got that I didn't like that I remember. Um, as a kid, my favorites were always, like the friggin' action figures.
Mhm.
Like, oh, they noticed I like He-Man, so they gave me friggin' He-Man. I'm watching a lot of wrestling, so they gave me the wrestling action figures or the ring or something. Um, as a kid, it's always your favorite.
Mhm.
Um, and then probably my favorite is like, when you said when your grandparents bought you your bike, my parents bought me my first new bike. This is bright orange and black Huffy BMX bike. You know, rode it so much the seat fell off, like I was going all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, and then, as I got older, it's like cool, nice jackets or nice pair of shoes, something that I might not wear all the time, but it's just like, wow, this is a nice jean jacket. And when it's raining or cold, I know I could throw it on. I'm good to go. Um, and then there's like the grown up stuff, like friggin' one year, Katie bought me Lurmals.
Oh,
Like,
those are cool.
so I'm like, that's like just like a tool set, for the grown man with the kid inside you. Oh,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Don't go there.
Oh yeah.
It sounded right. It sounded wrong as soon as that came out of my mouth. Ugh. Um, Something I always wanted, still as an adult, that damn USS Flag, the GI Joe battle carrier.
Oh my God, yes.
I see them at toy conventions for like $300, and I'm still like, fuck.
Yeah,
But
yes, like God, you know how many times I see that like on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or like you said, this past August I went to is in for my hometown, it's not terrible, but it's kind of a Comic Con slash pop culture slash, you know, nerd convention, anime, that all kind of all that mixed into one. And they have, the like some of the vintage or older toys and all that. And I see that stupid GI Joe aircraft carrier too, and I'm sitting there just looking at it. I'm just like, man, I wished I had that. Like even to this day, like you said, oh God, that's a forgotten toy that I intentionally forget about because I'll see it pop up and I get salty because everyone always know that everyone had that friend or that friend of a friend that had it.
yeah, and you loved hanging out with him because you loved playing with it, but you also secretly hated him because he had it and you didn't.
Yup. God, now I'm gonna be thinking about that stupid aircraft carrier all night.
You're welcome.
Oh man. Oh man.
Any uh any local stores in Oklahoma, like you said, that Atwoods, do they ever have any special Christmas, like things they only release during Christmas, uh drinks, bottles of liquor, toys, anything like that?
Um Kind of, yeah, like they have some stuff like during Christmas is a little more seasonal, like seasonal stuff. And they do have some like kind of like store branded like either shirts or some like Christmas ornaments or kind of like along that stuff line. They have some stuff that's just seasonal that it may not be necessarily the same stuff that like Walmart or grocery stores get, but they do kind of have some of that more seasonal kind of, or either store branded or kind of local stuff like that. Yeah, they do have some similar stuff like that. It's yeah.
And
They do have some like they do. It is one of those they do have like like you've been to Cracker Barrel, right?
yeah,
You know
got a lot.
they're not the candy canes, but they're like I call them candy cane sticks because they look like candy canes without the hoop,
Yeah,
and
they're just along peppermint sticks or whatever.
and they have like green apple, sour apple, blue rat, like all the different flavors.
Yeah,
They get those in Christmas time, and like I'm not really a candy cane fan, but I do like those though. They always got those in. Um, what about yourself where you're at, or back when you're in Jersey?
well, the older I get, the more people I meet, whether it was from PBR or even out here in Cali. Realized it was mainly a Northeast kind of thing. We have a gas station, or had one, called Hess,
Mm-hmm.
and every year they released the Hess toy truck,
Hmm.
and every year it's a different vehicle. Like one year it'll be a fire truck, and then an ambulance, and like 2019 it was a tow truck,
Mm-hmm.
and lights, sirens,
Oh, that's cool.
extra little vehicle with it. So I'm like, and I remember saying, I forget who I said it to, and they looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, "You guys don't have the Hess truck?" They're like, "We don't even know what the hell you're talking about." And they put a commercial out in November. The Hess truck's back and it's better than ever. Like they had a whole jingle for it. So like people have like, over the last 50 years, they collected every single one. And so that's why I was curious, like if any
um,
stores near you ever did something like that.
it's okay. It's not like that, but there is a jingle for a jewelry store in Oklahoma City. The store is called BC Clark's. It's a jewelry store, and they release this Christmas jingle every single year. And if you're an Oklahoman, any Okies listening, you know what I'm talking about. It is not Christmas time until you hear the BC Clark Anniversary Sale Christmas song. Whenever we get off, if you look it up on YouTube, it's a simple little jingle, but it's either a radio commercial or TV. It's one of those any Oklahoman knows what I'm talking about, and they'll, like I said, it's not Christmas because there's certain things, either it's a movie or certain Christmas song that it's not Christmas time. It's not officially Christmas season until you've seen this or heard this, and that's one of those. It's very similar to your trucks. That's very an Oklahoman thing.
Yeah, speaking of commercials and stuff, we New York. It was maybe New York and in Jersey, and I think in Connecticut as well. Um, there was an electronics store. They sold basically like a smaller regional Best Buy
Mm-hmm.
called Nobody Beats the Wiz. And I swear every year they ran the same commercial with Joe Namath selling camcorders. And you'd see this logo, Nobody Beats the Wiz, with the Christmas lights. And then it zooms into Joe Namath sitting by a fireplace, talking about the newest camcorder, the newest VCR. And it's like you said, like you said about that jewelry store. As soon as you heard the Hess truck jingle or the Joe Namath sitting by the fireplace, it's time for Christmas.
Yes. Uh, oh, I just thought of another Christmas gift I've always wanted that I never got. I'm like you, wrestling fan. We've done a couple discussions on wrestling. And, as a kid, I always wanted the wrestling action figures with the ring and the Titantron. Always wanted that. never got.
D'Lo had to make an appearance.
I got a couple. I've gotten a couple of the figures. I got this. At the time and still to this day, I got Stone Cold Steve Austin, favorite wrestler. Got a Stone Cold Steve Austin figure, and I think like a Rock or one other. But I always wanted the ring and the Titantron. Always wanted that. Never got it. Just like I've always, at one point, and even to this day, I still want a title belt. I don't care if it's a replica. I don't care if it's one of the $20 ones at Walmart or one of the replica ones off WWE shop. Those another couple gifts I always.
You better get that money in the bank ready, bud. You better get ready to cash in.
Oh, I'll cash in on you. Then you'll be acknowledging me. But yeah, those are a couple of the gifts also I've always wanted. Always wanted. Some other gifts that my parents still get me that I love hot sauce. Doesn't matter. Like I love hot stuff. I love hot sauces. And once a year, they haven't done it the last couple of years, because with the whole global suckage it's been the last 4 years that they haven't really traveled much. But they used to go to Branson once a year, and there's this hot sauce shop. I can't remember what it's called, but it's floor to ceiling aisles of nothing but like different kind of obscure hot sauces. Everything from essentially Tabasco up to stuff that should not be legal for human consumption. It's so hot. Like
you open the lid and you're like, oh
yeah, like stuff like they always get me like different kinds of hot sauces. Like even to like they still get like whether they go to like whatever store they which where I live at 2 hours away from Tulsa, 2 hours away from Wichita, about almost 2 hours away from Oklahoma City. So they they still travel there, but they'll get me like different kinds of hot sauces. Whether it's like a mango habanero, peach ghost pepper, or just different kinds of hot sauces. And that's one of those gifts that I use, but at the same time I kind of have a shelf of just all my different hot sauces that my parents have gotten me. Some I use more than others. Some the bottle looks cool and I don't want to
yeah, you don't want to use it.
Yeah, because if I use it empty, I'm gonna throw away the bottle. So, but no, that's a couple more of those gifts I've kind of gotten, or kind of stuff that wished I would have gotten, never gotten. Seeing how much this old Raw is War, early Raw like Ring and Titantron toys are. There's another's that's like, god dang, kind of pricey in this day and age.
Yeah, they were pricey 5 years ago, and then that whole C thing happened, and the coof, and then if for some reason like even stuff like that, the price went up.
Well, I know we've had this conversation before. Just messaging back and forth. Some of that's people our age. We're adults. Well, in the eyes of the government, we're adults, and we got that adult money, and some of it we're just rebuying our childhood, rebuying our youth, or we're getting stuff or we're buying the stuff now that we couldn't afford as either our parents never got us for Christmas or birthdays, or just flat out parents couldn't afford it at the time. So a lot of it's that too of just people rebuying their childhood or buying the stuff they never got as a child that they want now.
Yeah, the joke, what, 30 years ago, like when, grown men go through the midlife crisis, they buy a sports car, they buy a boat, they buy a motorcycle. Now, our generation, let's be honest, I'm 41. This is midlife crisis for us now, and we might still have that boat, but, we're buying action figures and Hot Wheels and Pokemon cards and, art at Comic-Con and shit like that. And it's like, it's a different kind of midlife crisis, stuff we couldn't have when we were kids, or we wanted to get back from when we were kids,
Yeah, like I'm 36. My midlife crisis is buying shiny cardboard. buying,
Yeah.
buying Pokemon cards. And God, that's okay. So besides gifts, is there any kind of like either, food, like, not necessarily food, but, the whole Christmas tree snack cakes, is there any certain things like that that is just resonates Christmas with you, or, certain things that, certain candies or treats or snacks that you also always got, as stocking stuffers, or any kind of those gifts that you're going to get every year regardless, but you always were so stoked for them anyways?
Yeah, like first, like candy wise, I'm like a peppermint junkie.
Hmm.
I will not eat it from February till November. But once December hits or the end of November, candy canes, friggin' peppermint mocha, friggin' uh, York peppermint patties. I would eat myself sick.
Oh, what are
And
they're the peppermint. They're peppermint sticks. They're about that long. They're not like they're like the kind of soft. They don't necessarily melt in your mouth, but they're like the soft peppermint sticks. They're usually about, like I said, about 2-3 inches long. They're usually in a bundle. They have like the small, like kind of bite size of soft peppermint sticks. I can't remember what
uh,
they're called. Um,
or like the Andes mints almost.
no, it's like, sometimes you go to some restaurants and they have like the soft mints. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
they're like that. They're like the candy cane striped, and I can't remember what they're called. I like those. I'm not a huge peppermint guy, but during Christmas, like those are some of those during Christmas time I like. I can't remember what they're called now. Like, it's gonna bother me. I probably look it up after we get off and probably send you a picture of them. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about once I send them. But yeah, I can't remember what they're called now. It's gonna bother me.
You'll remember at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's
Yeah,
gonna be like, oh, that's what they were.
every single time, every single time. Um,
Uh, but also like growing up Italian family, every they only make it during Christmas. It's called strufala, like little dough balls
mhm.
fried up, and it's covered in honey.
Hmm.
And they put like those little candied fruits, like candied cherries, and they build it up like a Christmas tree, and they cover it in sprinkles and honey. I would eat myself sick.
So
Every
is
time I walk by, I grab like three of them and throw them, pop them in my mouth. Walk by again, I grab like three more. And it's like I've only seen them during Christmas time, and they stack them up like a Christmas tree and decorate it. Those are mm, fine delicacy.
so I don't know if your parent, your mom ever did or whatever. When it came Christmas time, my mom would make cookies, fudge, um, trying to think, like, she'd, like I said, make fudge, or she'll make like chocolate covered pretzels, or different kinds, like Christmas cookies, Christmas candy, and every single year always did that. Always looked forward to that. Always getting them, little Christmas tree cookies, or like I said, the peanut butter and chocolate fudge, or she'll make like marshmallow and with pecan and dark chocolate fudge. But yeah, mom always made some kind of like either cookies or some kind of candy like that for during Christmas time.
Yeah, my mom always had made cookies, whether it was regular sugar cookies or was I want to say she made like these molasses cookies,
Hmm.
and they were friggin' out of this world. But one thing she made started in Thanksgiving, then Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's. She made these poached pears.
Hmm.
She would peel it, take the tops off and the bottom off. And she would poach it in white wine and or champagne, depending on the holiday. And she would cover it in caramel.
Well, that sounds pretty interesting, actually.
And the pears would get super soft to the fact that you could like cut it with a spoon.
Jesus.
And it was just like super sweet, super gooey because of the caramel. And that's why she only made it 2, maybe 3 times a year, maybe.
Right.
And it was just like a holiday thing. And then you weren't getting it on the 4th of July. You were not getting it on Easter, Christmas, and or Thanksgiving. That was it.
Yeah. That's kind of how my mom would bake, throughout the year. She'd, make randomly some chocolate chip cookies or some brownies or some cakes here and there. But it was always during Christmas time that she made like the sugar cookies, that frosted up, they look like decorated Christmas trees or snowmen or whatever. Then, like I said, the fudge was always only during Christmas time. She would start probably about this time of the year, in December, start making, like I said, cookies, fudge, and all that other good stuff. Make like a peppermint bark brittle or whatever, like the peanut brittle, but instead of it'd be like with like white chocolate or like normal chocolate with peppermint, like candy canes broken up in it, or should always make that kind of stuff. And that's one of those things. Also, look, every year always look forward to mom's homemade cookies and candy and that kind of stuff. And obviously, like we've talked about before, the Little Debbie Christmas tree cakes, got to have those. And me and my dad used to get in fights as a kid. When I was a kid, we used to fight over them. The cordial chocolate covered cherries.
We went through about 2 boxes in the last 3 weeks, me and Katie.
Those are
We
rookie
bought,
numbers.
yeah, and only because like I'm like trying to be good, trying to stay in the good list, not get on the naughty list. But like, yeah, like I could buy a box and like finish them off in like 2 days. Like
Home from the store.
by the time you get to the car, you're like, what the fuck, man? It's an empty box.
Yes. My dad and we used to fight over those things. And even to this day, like that's another one of those, it's Christmas time. You go to the store, start seeing, the chocolate covered cordial cherries and the Christmas tree cakes. And God, those chocolate covered cherries are so freaking good. And so far, I've only had 1 box this year. I'm trying, kind of along the same way, try not to burn myself out on them, because that's one thing that will end up happening.
And you know what? That's the good thing. Like after Christmas is over, the holidays, you don't really see them. So
No.
you're only gonna get them like 1, maybe 2 months out of the year. And so it's like you could stock up and gorge yourself, if you will.
Yeah. Oh
Is,
man. So, I
is
saw
there any? Oh, go ahead.
I seen something. I think it was on your Facebook or Instagram. I can't remember which. I have to ask because it's not. It has to be a regional thing. What's the
Pork
deal
roll.
with the Taylor ham or ham roll, or what's the deal with
Okay.
that? Is that a regional thing?
Yeah, it's definitely like a New Jersey, Philadelphia area thing. Okay, so pork roll. It's basically like a mixture of between bologna and spam, right? And it's shaped like bologna. And where bologna, you could pick it off the shelf and eat it like is.
Mm-hmm.
Pork roll, you have to cook it. And you make sandwiches like pork roll, egg and cheese, like any kind of breakfast sandwich where they would have sausage or bacon. You could substitute it for pork roll. Um, Pork roll is the generic term.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor ham is a name brand, so it's Taylor's ham pork roll, or Taylor's ham, Taylor's pork roll. but there's like a few companies, maybe like two or three companies that make it. And the joke is always there's a delineation. Um, the closer you get to New York, the more people will call it Taylor ham or Taylor's ham. The closer you get to Philadelphia, it's pork roll. So that's like, if you ever hear somebody, whether it's me or Drew ever say, North Jersey, South Jersey, Central Jersey, that's kind of like the dividing factor. Do you
Okay.
call it Taylor ham? Do you call it pork roll?
So it's kind of along
And
the lines of, because like where I'm at in the country, it's kind of like some people call every single soda is Coke, or
yeah,
kind of that weird cross where it's like pop, soda, Coke. It like depends. I'm at that weird kind of intersection to where depend it all three are acceptable here. It just depends where you're at. So it's kind
yeah,
of some people call it Taylor's ham, other people call it pork roll. Just Taylor Hams. Taylor Hams is just it's a brand.
yeah. It's a brand name of pork roll.
So like how everyone calls every single vice grips, even though it's a brand, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
longer. But everyone calls them vice grips.
yeah. It's like Band-Aids. Band-Aid is the brand as opposed to sterile strip or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got like a kind of like a just, I wouldn't say spicy, but it's kind of like a tangy
Hmm.
cologne, basically.
Okay. Because like I said, I've never seen that. Like I've always heard. Like only time I ever see it is it's always around this time of year, and it's always people that's either lived in the Northeast or from that area of the country that talks about either pork roll or Taylor's ham. It's always people that from that part of the country. So
Yeah, and like I said, even me, like whenever I got past New York City, going north, let's say, you said, "Oh, you guys got pork roll here?" It could be like upstate New York. They look at me like I'm crazy. Because it's really like it's regional and inside a region, and I saw some in Florida when I was down there, but that's only because there's so many New York, New Jersey transplants down there that kind of came with them.
hmm
Um, but yeah, it's like super specific, and it's one of those things. It's always best when they cut it fresh. Like if you see it in the package, it's never as good. But
right.
yeah, so
Hmm. All right. So what were you gonna add? What were you getting ready to ask before I interrupted you about the?
uh, oh yeah, is there any Oklahoma specific traditions around Christmas time?
Oh
'Cause
man,
obviously, I wouldn't know, but
about like I don't know if it's Oklahoma specific, but I mean it's one of the deals that I see more people around it here. I don't really remember which part of my life grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. Then again, I was younger, so I don't really remember as much. But I noticed around here, it's a lot of like houses decorate for Christmas, Christmas lights and all that. And there's a lot of Christmas in the parks of part like public public parks will put up light displays and just have you can drive through the park and look at Christmas lights or get on. So a lot of the parks here, have like those miniature trains. You can like take train rides to the park and look at Christmas lights, and that's kind of a deal around here. Like stuff like kind of here, and trying to think of other Christmas traditions around here. It's kind of uh, I mean, kind of Thanksgiving. I mean, it's kind of a Thanksgiving deal, but also Christmas too. Is kind of the Christmas football game. You know, out in the yard with the family. That's kind of another deal around here because part of the country I'm in, football. You got God country football, where here it's like football God country. and it's all kind of football. But there's really like a lot of the Christmas decorations and a lot of the that kind of stuff, and it's really don't necessarily have like any kind of Oklahoma traditions like statewide, but it's kind of because kind of at the crossroads of the country where almost smack dab in the middle of the country, so you got a little bit of people from Texas, Kansas, just so much crossroads that it's kind of a melting pot of some of that. So I mean, there's not really any specific Oklahoma like, oh, this is it's Christmas in Oklahoma when this starts hitting the shelves, or or this that kind of deal. But about trying to think of the only thing that family rise, I guess, is one thing that we used to always, until gas started getting outrageous, we used to always in the evenings pack up, load up in my dad's truck or whatever, and we would go just drive around, spend hours looking at Christmas lights. Sometimes we'd stop and get like hot chocolate or whatever, but just drive around and look at Christmas lights, spend a couple hours just doing that all over town.
Yeah, looking at Christmas lights, that was always like, maybe it was my kid memories, but it always seemed like more people were doing it back then than they are now, and it could be because shit's getting so damn expensive. But I remember my mom and dad loaded me and my brother Mikey up into the Trooper and going down you call it the Cougine Way, where all the people that were suspected in the mob, they all lived in these big ass freaking houses, and it was a hill. We would drive up, you'd see people driving up and down, just looking at these like huge light displays. It was like freaking National Lampoons just on that block. And like, you knew it was like time to check out the lights, because it was like, as soon as they flipped on the switch, everybody else's lights got dimmer because all the power was going there. But yeah, just looking at these lights, full displays, Santa's, friggin' talking Rudolph, friggin'. It was always like, snow on the ground, friggin' 20 degrees outside.
I get that without. See, we get that here. We don't get the snow quite, but we get the 20 degrees here. So I feel that. Okay. Have to know, within the Christmas spirit, what are your Christmas movie have to watch? Either before Christmas or by first of the year. What are your Christmas movies that you have to see, even though you've seen them thousands of times?
Home Alone 1 and 2. I'll count them as one. 8 Crazy Nights. Lampoons and A Christmas Story. I could watch once every December, and I have my fix.
Yeah.
Home Alone, I could watch 2 or 3 times. Then the obvious ones like Elf and the Santa Claus, the Tim Allen Santa Claus.
Oh God, I remember watching those I remember watching the first one in theaters when it came out.
Me too.
Yeah.
And me and Katie, we just watched Red One.
Okay. Oh, was that
with The Rock? The one with The Rock when J. Jonah Jameson and Santa.
Yeah.
And I came to this thought. All right. There's 4 Santas in history.
Okay.
The original Christmas, what was it? Christmas on 42nd Street.
Yeah.
That's the OG traditional Santa.
Okay.
Tim Allen's the comedy Santa.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's the dancing, singing Santa. And have you seen Violent Night?
Yes.
That's the Warrior Santa.
Honestly, I liked that movie. Like, I watched it last year, and like I saw the trailers for it. It's like, okay, that's probably gonna be all the good parts. Watched that movie, and honestly, that movie was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, it was great, and it got better as it went on.
Yes, I was pleasantly surprised with that movie. And speaking of, I can't really. There's one I want to see it. That was the new Jack Black Christmas movie where the kid accidentally writes a letter to Satan instead of Santa. God, that's one I want. I want to see that one. I really want to see that.
I would say it just for the musical numbers.
Yes.
But what about you? Same question towards you.
Obviously, National Lampoon's Christmas Great Vacation. Have to watch it. Have to watch it. I'm like you. Watch it one time, I'm good. That's one of those. Watch it one time, I'm good. I'm golden. Another one, Polar Express.
See, that's one of those I think I only saw once. And I haven't watched it again.
Yeah. Another one, I don't care. Die Hard. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I don't care. It is a Christmas. If Home Alone is a Christmas movie, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
You know what? I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm too far into saying Die Hard's not a Christmas movie that I'm like, if you want Die Hard to be a Christmas movie, God bless you. I'm not going to argue with it. But I will quote Bruce Willis himself. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Neither is Home Alone is just a home invasion movie that took place during Christmas.
I just say it to see who I could get mad. You know.
To me, it's the pineapple on pizza conversation. Yes, I'm the same way. I like doing it to get a rise out of people. End of the day, I don't care. If you want to consider it a Christmas movie, go for it. Cool. If not, whatever. But Die Hard's one of them. Santa Claus is another. The first one. After that, I didn't care for the rest of them. The first one I loved. That, and probably another one is I liked them growing up, still like them. The old OG, the stop motion. I can't think of stop motion, but the OG Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, like the claymation kind of thing.
Yeah, and also the original Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Like obviously, like you said, Elf, and even the newer, Jim Carrey, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Some of those, yeah, I'll watch, and Violent Night after watching, was it last year or the year before, whenever it came out. Those, but they're like probably like I said, the OG Rudolph, Grinch, National Lampoons, the Santa Claus, and Die Hard. Those are probably my hard. I have to watch those between December 1st to at least first of the year. I have to watch those. Okay, growing up, or in your household now, or when you were growing up, when did the Christmas decorations go up and when did they come down?
The weekend after Thanksgiving is when everything came out of the attic.
Mm-hmm.
Then that started to go up, but that weekend everything came down out of the attic or the garage or whatever. And then it's usually that week at some point. Once December hit, then okay, everything can go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a day before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
My family was way too busy cooking for Thanksgiving to worry about the Christmas decorations too.
Yeah. Sound like we grew up in the same household then, because along the same way they came down that weekend after Thanksgiving. They came down like kind of like yours. They started going up kind of throughout that week, but they were not up or whatever a day before Thanksgiving. Now coming down, the Christmas tree was down the day after Christmas, and that's when the stuff kind of came back out. The totes and kind of came back out of the attic or the garage or the shed, wherever my dad had them. That's when they came back out, day after Christmas. But, kind of throughout that week afterwards till about the first, that's when mom started, taking the decorations down and some of that they usually buy that, that week after Christmas, a little after the first, that's when they kind of went back up into the attic.
Yeah, I always we always kind of gave it to January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
After the new year, it's like, okay, everything's coming down. The totes might still be down from the attic in like the spare room or something, out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, it would right after Thanksgiving to right after New Year's is when it went up and then came down.
Mm-hmm.
And if my dad was out working, Santa might be up there to the middle of January. But just because he didn't want to pull out the ladder just yet and take him down off the fence of the deck. But
yeah, that's because my dad, within the last few years, my dad started, he would get like horseshoes, and like he has a welder, so like he'll weld horseshoes together, make like candy canes or make like Christmas trees, and put lights on them. And he does that stuff, just to kind of keep himself busy and not be bored. And like he'll put them up before Thanksgiving, but they will not get plugged in and power get to them until the day after Thanksgiving. And kind of the same way, they may be up, until the first or second week of January, just because either it's too cold, my dad doesn't want to get up on the ladder and take them off, even the house, or take them down because it's still too cold. But when it comes like that kind of stuff, yeah, it's usually about, my dad may put them up a little early because it's still somewhat nice early mid-November. Because I don't know if you've ever been through or been to Oklahoma, but our weather is very bipolar. It could be 30 degrees today with a wind chill of 25, then the next day be in the 60s. So I mean, our weather is very bipolar here. But yeah, when it's outside decorations, it's kind of more kind of playing it by ear with how the weather is.
yeah, and nowadays my dad, he's not sure how old your dad is, but he's probably pretty close to mine. My dad's 72.
Right.
He doesn't want he doesn't want to get up anywhere that he can't reach from the ground. He had the shoulder surgery, his knee's done. He's like, I'm not getting up on a ladder anymore.
Yeah.
He'll do things on the windows, put the lights on the trees and the bushes outside, but he's like, I'm not going crazy anymore. He's like, I don't want to fall. It's
Mm-hmm.
too cold, and he's like, I barely want to go into the attic and bring the shit down.
Yeah. My dad's getting to that point too. He's 64, 63, 60, 64. He's not quite full retirement yet, but he's getting there. Yeah, he's starting to get to that point too. If he has to get up on a ladder, he's kind of starting to kind of get to that point where it's like, screw, forget this noise, or kind of getting to that point of, he barely, like you said, barely wants to get the shit down out of the attic, let alone put it up. So he's probably got another couple years of doing it left in him before he's kind of like too cold, too old, don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, and for him, I think part of it also is I'm not there in Jersey right now,
Mm-hmm.
so he can't ask me to come over and climb the ladder and put his lights up. And like, yeah, he 3 years ago he wouldn't have admitted to it, but now he admits to it. Like, I would help him clear off the deck, put the patio furniture away for the fall and the winter. Help him take it back out in the spring. Any lights that need to be hung up that needs a ladder. Hey, Joe, can you come over and help me with the Christmas lights? It's more of like, hey, can you climb the ladder and put them up?
Yeah, I get some of that because my dad's finally kind of gotten to that point too as well, where before he would roundabout ask me on some of that without asking me. Then once I got there, but now anymore it's just like you either flat out ask, or just like I say, getting to the point. Which, I mean, yeah, I live in the same town, but it's still just getting to the point, like his age, and just like he's like, screw this shit, like like you said, I don't even want to get the stuff down from the attic or dig it out of the shed, let alone put them up, do all this other stuff. Then now my electric bill is going to be higher because I have them on for extra two, have run electricity extra 2 hours a night or however long he has it running for.
Now, I will say the biggest conspiracy theory, and this could just be getting older, or maybe I've been talking to you guys too long. When did the fresh Christmas tree market get so damn fucking expensive? I could have swore when I was like 15, a Christmas tree was like $20.
Yeah.
Now it's like 90.
Okay. I have noticed like that, and I don't know about where you're like, when you were back in Jersey or even out there in Cali now. Do you like? I remember, going to like Walmart, basically like almost after Halloween, but more so closer to halfway between Halloween and mid-November. Your Walmart or even local grocery stores, or even you have like the random parking lots that they would put up like live Christmas trees.
Yeah. Why do we have them in the middle of November?
Like now,
the end, I get it.
Like now, it's starting to get where it seems like they're starting to get less and less, live Christmas trees, and it seems like it's getting more and more artificial Christmas trees.
You know what? I'm not opposed to it. Like having I have a fake tree right now.
Mm-hmm.
But like growing up in New York and even in Jersey, having especially my dad's side, it was freaking huge. It was kind of like split half down the middle. Who has the fake? Who has the real?
Mm-hmm.
And the fake trees were always like, it was either like the green, natural looking green tree was kind of the minority.
Yeah.
It was always like, who's got the blue metallic tree? Who's got the white metallic tree? Who's got the pink? Straight up like the Italian Christmas trees you see in the movies. So it never really bothered me.
Right.
And he even said, he was like, this was like 15 years ago. He's like, I could spend either $40 on a real tree and have to throw it away, or spend $200 on this fake tree and it lasts me 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like economically, it makes more sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I always grew up with the artificial tree because my mom was allergic to so like she's allergic to like cedar and other kind of that line of trees, like your pine trees, your like that kind of tree she's allergic to. So I always grew up with artificial trees. Artificial trees, all I ever knew.
Yeah.
Around here, it's kind of the opposite. The green, the traditional green trees, like everybody and their dog has one. What was really rare is when you went to someone's house and they had like a white Christmas tree, or like one of like the blue or one of the color Christmas trees. But it was always the green tree, or it was like the white tree was probably the second most common. But even then, that was kind of like when you went to someone's house and they had a white Christmas tree, like, oh dang, you got it like that.
Yeah, you got the white tree money.
Yeah. Or when you go into some people's houses, you always had that one friend that they had like a Christmas tree in like the main room, but they also had like a separate Christmas tree somewhere else. Like, dang, you got two Christmas tree kind of money.
It's like, you're balling, man.
Yes. Okay. Because we really didn't. I know some people do. When it came to trees with your ornaments, was it always the same exact ornaments, or is it one of those every single year, always had a new ornament you added to the tree, or like an ornament as a gift that, that you put on the tree, that you end up putting on the tree, then it was another ornament just added to the tree?
It was always kind of like you always had the traditional balls, so to speak. And those always kind of stayed the same, whether it's like until they wore out and you got new ones, but it was like, oh, red and green or blue and silver or whatever. And then you get like those little Hallmark, ornaments, the ornaments you made for your mom at Boy Scouts or something like that. They filled the void.
Yeah.
It was always like when you see those professional Christmas trees done, that's ribbons and tinsel and so perfect, nothing out of place. They're beautiful,
Yeah.
but they have like no. I mean, that is completely their personality.
Yes.
As opposed to like if you walked up to my tree or mine and Kay's tree right now, you see all the pretty blue balls and silver balls, and then you look and you're like, oh, there's just Charlie Brown over there. Oh, Spider-Man over here. Oh, look, Boba Fett. Like
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is that Obi-Wan Kenobi?
and of course he's on top because he always has to have the high ground.
Space Jesus.
And then it's like, okay, you find the pickle in the tray, and here's a piece of candy.
See, we never did that. Oh, see, like I've always heard about the pickle, and I think that's like a household or like a region, because I know some people, like you said, do the candy, or some of them, if you find the pickle, you open your gift first, or
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a by household thing.
yeah, it's and again, I didn't grow up with it. Well, I found out about it as I got older because one of my cousins, she married Sean, who's half German,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. And it was his like the German pickle, tree pickle, and this is where I learned about it. So I kind of started doing it. But it was like you said, it's kind of a you know, you find it. Hey, I found it. Okay, you open your gift first, or if you find it like December 4th, ah, here's a piece of candy. Now go hide it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, now somebody else has to find it. And whoever finds it, he keeps moving around the tray.
Yeah.
Mm.
So were you ever allowed to open a gift? Like the night before Christmas, or like an
Let me
early
turn this on.
gift?
There we go.
Were you ever allowed to open a gift early, like I said, the night, like on Christmas Eve, or like a week before Christmas, you kept bugging your parents, and your parents finally caved of that one gift that like they let you open a gift early?
See, I never. It was always like, okay, Christmas Eve for my dad's side of the family was always the big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like everybody would pack into my grandmother's apartment, a little 2-bedroom of friggin' apartment on Staten Island. There'd be like 45 people in there, or it was 3-bedroom, excuse me, because one of the rooms was just kind of like a TV room.
Right.
And everybody, when they would come over with like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 gifts, and they would all put it in this room. So me, my cousin Steven, and my cousin Corinne, we would all go, we'd do what kids do, and it's like, okay, which ones are ours? Which ones are ours? Which one, this one's from Uncle Joe. This one's from, Uncle Dom. This one's, and so on that whole side of the family, we would always open gifts that night anyway. And then Christmas Day was more family at home.
Right.
So me, my mom, my dad, my brother Mikey, my mom's family was out of town came in from Virginia. We would celebrate there, and then we would open, my gift for my dad, or his gift for my mom, or something like that. But Christmas Eve was always this big event. So we always ended up opening gifts anyway. So it was, we would eat appetizers, open some gifts, eat dinner, open some gifts, have dessert, open more gifts. And then the old men are at the table playing cards and smoking cigars and getting drunker than they were at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, complaining about all the kids running around.
Quit making noise, or yeah. See, mine, it was just myself and my parents. I'm only child, no siblings. So it was always Christmas morning, you know. Obviously, as a kid, I'm sitting there, up at the butt crack of dawn, like, going out there trying to see what Santa left,
Yeah.
Santa left me, or you know, or what my or oh cool, this is from mom, this is from dad, or this is from both of them. Sitting there shaking them, like, okay, what's this? Trying to figure it out. And
You
so
pick it up and say how heavy it is.
I'm like, oh, I'm over here sitting in the front room, sitting there kind of pacing, like, okay, hurry up, wake up, guys, and kind of go there and kind of go towards the room, like looking. And my dad will finally wake up and he'll be like, okay, like, okay, can I open it now? Wait for your mom. It's like, oh my God, hurry up, as a kid, hurry up, mom. You hurry up, wake up so I can open the gifts. And we never really got the whole, like, the only thing I think we did for New Year's Eve kind of was, I think every year would order pizza and, order pizza, watch a couple movies. But I had to be in bed by a certain time, so Santa could come, and always left, the milk and cookies out for Santa, and always did all that. But yeah, it wasn't like, because at the time, my mom's side, my dad's side, kind of spread all over, kind of spread out, somewhat throughout the country. So had a couple aunts and uncles here and some cousins around here, but even then they were still like either in Tulsa or out in BFE, Oklahoma. So it was just myself and my parents, and we didn't really, do the whole big get together for Christmas. But nope, mine was always Christmas morning, not a day before. Not even. Come on, let me open this one up. Let me open this just one. Let me open this small one. Nope, not a minute before Christmas morning.
Yeah. See what that, like, like you, I would always be down there like 6 o'clock in the friggin' morning, just sitting by the tree waiting.
Yep.
And dad and mom would wake up, come downstairs, and as they're making or my mom's making breakfast, I'd be like, okay, you could open up your stocking.
Yeah.
Well, and then after we have breakfast, then we open gifts. But it was like, don't you even touch your stocking until we're downstairs and had our coffee first. They were tired, they were full, and they were hungover. And so it was like, while they're having their coffee, making pancakes or whatever, French toast. It's like, all right, you could open your stocking. But
Yeah. That was kind of similar, I could open my stocking first. I always had to do the stocking first. And it's kind of the same way, I had to wait till, once mom finally woke up or whatever, well, mom like, oh, what do you guys want for breakfast? I'm like cereal. Just give me a bowl of cereal. So I can, her smash out a bowl of cereal and get opening gifts. Like, no, you're not having cereal. So, actually real breakfast. It's like, come on.
You'd be happy with chewing on dirt if it meant getting to the gifts quicker,
Dude, I'd have I'd eat a wish sandwich at that time. God, it was one of those, like, hurry up, come on, guys, we got stuff to open. Yeah, that was probably most of my Christmases as a child, and as I got older, turned into the typical male of, well, oh man, I can disassemble and rebuild a 4R70W automatic transmission out of a Ford. Do not ask me to wrap a Christmas present, though. I can rebuild a Chevy, but don't ask me to wrap anything.
See, I've gotten to the point where my wrapping is passable. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the first get, maybe two are kind of like, who wrapped this? A 4-year-old, like. But then I'm like, okay, but if it's not perfectly square, it looks like a chimp did it. But if it's like a square or like a t-shirt box or something, I'm like, it looks like perfect.
Yeah. Oh, I'm right. If it's in a box, like if it's in a box or something like that, yes, I can wrap it. But if it's like a Hot Wheel package, do not ask me to wrap it.
I will buy two just so I could stick them together like this and make it a perfect square.
Yep. Yep. If it's something like that, oh God, no. It's like I said, I can rebuild a small block Chevy. I can rebuild a 4.6 liter Ford, but do not ask me to gift wrap anything. Like heck, like it looks like I'm putting laundry in a bag. Even if you get like one of those gift bags with the tissue paper, it's like, what did you what is this? Did you just throw it in the bag? No, I
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
yes, that's one of those. Did you okay? Did you ever get caught sneaking, like not necessarily unwrapping your presents, or like when your parents were at work or at the store? Did you ever get caught sneaking, looking at your gifts that your parents either had up in the closet or they hid? Then when you Christmas finally came, you opened it. You're like, wait a minute, this isn't that toy. This isn't that Stone Cold action figure. How do you know about that?
See, growing up, like I until my at some point, I think I was around 11, is when my dad and my uncle redid the attic to make it kind of like a new bedroom for me and my brother. Um, and that's in the back end of it is where they kept the gifts, which is how I found out the truth about Santa. I woke up and I caught them walking out of it. Um, uh, there, I had to walk past their bedroom to get to the living room where the tree was.
Yeah.
So it was like, and even at like 9 years old, I walked like a bull in a china shop. So it was like they knew when I was awake,
Yeah.
and if they didn't hear the door close on the bathroom, they're like, "Joseph, get back to bed." You know, they're like, "Joe, what are you doing?" Joe, Joseph, Brad, Regina, get back to bed.
It's happened to me once. It happened to me. So there's one time my parents, my parents went to the store for something. I can't remember what for. And so I was at the age where I stayed home. Obviously, I knew I was well past the age of knowing Santa wasn't real. So, I'm at home and it's like, okay, bet. So I'm going. So, they leave, and I forgot they normally they take my dad's truck. Well, at the time, they took my mom's vehicle because my dad's truck had an aftermarket exhaust, so you could hear the thing start up in the garage, take off. You could hear the thing coming down the street. So, all right, cool. I forgot they didn't take my dad's truck. So, they've been gone for a little bit. So, all right, cool. Been long enough. So I go sneak into the room, sneak into the closet, get the little step stool or chair, looking up in the closet, found a couple of the gifts they got for me for Christmas. All right, cool. I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm not paying attention to nothing at this point. And like I said, I forgot they didn't take my dad's truck, and I assumed they took my dad's truck because 9 times out of 10 they took my dad's truck. I'm listening for my dad's truck, and I never hear it. I didn't hear the because so you had my parents' house. You have the garage, you have the washroom, which is like the washer, dryer, the hot water heater. Then there's a door that goes into the kitchen of my parents' house. I didn't hear those open or close. I'm up there looking at the shit. Then parents come home and I happen to look over, looking right my dad right in the face. I'm like, oh. He's like, okay. He basically looks at me. He's like, well, you like it? I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, I don't want to. I have no answer. He's like,
Okay. You don't want to say yes and admit that you saw anything, but you also don't want to say no and be like insult your mom and dad for buying it for you.
yeah. So Christmas comes.
You turn into Burger King. I didn't say anything.
We ain't no snitch. I did not get any of the gifts that I thought I was going to get. I got, that's when I got, like the socks, the underwear, all the all those gifts. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I deserve this. This is on me. This one's on me. My bad, y'all. Our truth moment. Okay. So finally, which my birthday's in July. So, we got this Christmas. 7 months later, my birthday. And by that time, by February, I've done forgotten all about that other stuff. So July comes, my Christmas presents turn into my birthday presents. Because, they already paid for them. They already got them and probably done lost the receipts. So they couldn't take it and get their money back at the time.
Yeah.
So kept them and end up using them for birthday presents. I'm like, okay, cool. So this is where that took off to. Yeah. Ever since then, my parents learned to either hide the Christmas presents better, or during that during that time of year they basically hid them better, or just would not leave me home alone for a little bit because of that. Either one of them stayed, or I had to go with them.
It's like, hey, Philip, go to the store.
Yeah, we're going to Walmart. We're going to the grocery store. Okay, I'll stay here. No, you're coming with me. Okay. Need your help. Oh, okay.
We ain't falling for that again.
Or Philip, or mom's going to the grocery store. It's like my dad, hey, go with your mom. Why? Well, you help her. It's like, well, why can't you go? I told you to go. Okay.
we both know why.
Yep. Took one time. Only did it one time.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You fool me once, you can't fool me again.
Yeah, that was my dad. You did it once. Not again. And as far as he's concerned, if you did it once, you've done it every single time.
This is just the one time we caught you.
Yes. Legitimately, that was the one time I did it. But yeah, I've only done it once and got caught once.
Excuse me. All right, bud. I gonna have to go and pick up Katie from work.
All right.
It's a pleasure, and have to do this again sometime. It's been a while since what? Deadpool.
Yeah, it's been since Deadpool.
So
yeah, I mean, anytime you got something you want to talk about, hit me up. I'm always down. It's always a pleasure and always good talking to you.
Yeah, it's always fun. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Yeet. We are approaching that time of year again, so
Merry Yeetmas.
Merry Yeetmas. So, well,
yeah,
lady.
When I asked Katie what she wanted for Christmas, she said she wanted Rhea Ripley under the tree. Who am I to tell her no?
How's this going to work when she's under your tree and I want her under my tree? How's this going to work?
You got to fight Katie for it.
Her. I'll take Io Sky or Kairi Sane or, Bailey. I'll take any of those as a substitution. So.
Yeah, Katie wants Rhea. I want Raquel. We can't both have what we want. So.
Yeah. So. Man.
But.
Like I said, have a good rest of your night.
You too, bud.
Like I said, hit me up anytime you wanna have a discussion.
Yeah, I'll try to think of something else. And literally, this came to me 2 days ago or something like that, and I'm like, it's right around the corner, so it fits. Yeah. So, peace out, buddy.
Later, bud.